That is officially known in the legal world as a big giant mess. This is not just a rental, it's a rent with option to purchase. It's also got unenforceable clauses in it. It's got a 10% late fee, which is not allowable. Plaintiff gave him a 30-day notice to quit. They also contend that the property taxes are not paid, and Mr. Bush contends that they are paid. So there's multiple problems.
Renters agree that if the rent is more than 5 days late, this agreement is broken and will automatically revert to month-to-month rental agreement and may be terminated.
Welcome, everybody. So I did this case about 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's about a landlord seller who is trying to screw the tenant buyer out of 2/3 of the purchase price of a home. Well, it turns out he's not even the rightful owner of the home. There are other wrinkles here, and it's a fun one. So let's roll, Lonards. And also, who could forget this guy from the last hearing?
The title of the case is Clifton Harder, Harder versus Casey John Capp. Mr. Harder is here with his lawyer, Victor Bland. Casey Capp is here. And who are you folks?
Amy Watson. I also live on the property.
Okay. And you, sir?
I'm Tim Coyle.
All right. And so Tim Coyle is actually the owner of the property. So let's sort this out. Let me make a note here. So you live with Casey Capp? I'm going to ask if you take your gun off. Amy Watson?
They are husband and wife, Your Honor.
All right. And Clifton Harder is here with his lawyer, Victor Bland. I learned this morning about a new player in this matter who would be Tim Coyle. Mr. Coyle, you are presently the owner of this property on Burke Road.
Yes, sir.
Let me recap a little bit. This is, I think, only the second time we've been here, but this started out as a termination of tenancy action filed by Clifton Harder against Casey Capp. Mr. Bland filed the action. The notice to quit. Well, I'll back up. This points out the benefit of having competent counsel as a landlord-tenant defendant. Most landlord-tenant defendants can't afford an attorney. This defendant, Mr. Capp, hired Mr. Howard Bush, who's a very experienced property lawyer and also landlord-tenant attorney.
And an accomplished nose picker.
A rent-to-own contract. Mr. Bush marked it as Exhibit A at our last hearing. It's between Casey Capp and DC Investments. Well, DC Investments isn't a party to this action. I don't know who DC Investments is. I understand there may be a subsequent rent-to-own contract that Mr. Bush has in his possession. So then I learned through Mr. Bush's pleadings that Mr. Harder doesn't have title to the property. The owner of the property is Mr. Tim Coyle, who was apparently selling the property on a land contract to Clifton Harder. While he was purchasing the property under the land contract, Mr. Harder apparently allegedly then sold the property on a rent-to-own contract to Casey Capp. Although I don't know who DC Investments is. I don't have anything with Clifton Harder's name on it. I'm not clear that Mr. Harder even has standing to bring this action. Mr. Coyle is here on his own behalf to address his own interest.
Mr. Coyle is a real treat, too. Keep watching.
So I met with the lawyers in chambers, and they've been working on this. What I understand is that parties at this point are asking to adjourn this matter for about 90 days. Mr. Bland, I'll defer to you and hopefully maybe you can help clear me up a little bit.
I think I'm not confused, and we'll try to go from that basis. First off, there is an agreement to adjourn this for 90 days. Hopefully during that time, the defendants can get financing to essentially buy out the remainder of the amortization table. In the
All right,
meantime,
now, just a minute. Buy it out from who?
well, I have a rent-to-own contract. It's a subsequent one. It's between Mr. Harder and these defendants.
And I have a copy of that also.
And
I
it's,
acknowledge.
so I don't think I've got filed with the court, but there is a subsequent one. It's all, and that's what I'm basing it off of.
All right, so there's a subsequent rent-to-own contract between Mr. Harder and Mr. Cap, which I don't have. What's the date of it?
It was acknowledged
like-
on the 19th day of June 23. Look at the acknowledgement.
Yep, I agree. There's a notarization of
All right,
June.
then I also understand that there's some issue regarding how accurate the amortization is. So there may be a dispute about that.
There may be, but we've also agreed that we will procure title insurance. And I think in the process of doing that, we can figure out how to get the property from Mr. Coyle to Mr. Harder, because I'm sure they're going to want that clear title too. I understand defendants want clear title. Frankly, I want them to have clear title when we end up with this.
That was one of my prerequisites for any sale on this thing, to make sure we do have marketable title to the seller, to the buyer.
Mr. Coyle, would you come up to the podium?
Yes, sir.
All right. Your name, sir, what's your full name?
Timmy Ernest Coyle.
And you are presently the title holder of this property at Brook
Yes, Your
Road?
Honor. I'm not willing to release it until restitution is made from the property that was taken off of the property while I was in the Philippines. And Mr. Harder
All right,
knew.
all right, well, let's back up a minute. So
Okay,
you have a land contract with Mr. Harder.
yes,
When was that?
that was in 2014. I don't remember the exact date. Because he was,
All right, has that land contract been paid off?
no,
All right,
the contract was broken the very day that I was going to the Philippines. He moved his ex-wife in. The very day I was gone, I wasn't able to get any of my property out.
all right, well, this may need to be determined. So right now, Mr. Harder can't provide title to this property to the Caps. So even if Caps paid Mr. Harder $500,000, he can't sell it to them until he gets a deed from you.
That's correct.
And you contend that Mr. Harder owes you money.
Yes, sir.
All right, how, in the neighborhood, how much?
Probably somewhere, I don't know, I'd have to add everything up. It was taken, but probably close to $5,000 or $6,000.
All right, so what the lawyers propose is not unreasonable. Let's adjourn this for 90 days, see if we can figure this all out, get you made whole, so you can give a deed to Mr. Harder. And then the Caps can then pay off Mr. Harder on an agreed upon amount. There's a dispute about how much is owed between the Caps and Mr. Harder. I don't think Mr. Harder could even do this in the first place. I don't think he can sell a property under a half-assed rent-to-own contract that he's buying under a land contract that hasn't been completed. But that notwithstanding, everyone is gonna try to see if, with two good lawyers, see if we can work this out. Where do you live, Mr. Coyle?
I'm at Maple Towers Apartments in Sturgis, but that's not my mailing address. My mailing address I have at a friend's house
All right,
because I go to the Philippines, and
what do you do in the Philippines?
my wife that I haven't seen since 2018 is there. I have 3 stepdaughters and 2 grandchildren. My oldest is now 6. I haven't seen him since he was 9 months old.
So wait a minute. he goes to the Philippines, but he hasn't seen his wife in 7 years, and he hasn't seen his son in 6 years. Something ain't adding up there.
Well, all right, good luck with that. My kids have been to the Philippines and liked
I
it a
love it.
lot.
I want to live there.
All right, so let's see where, yes, Mr. Bland?
I'd like to ask Mr. Coyle just a couple questions, if
All
I
right.
could. Mr. Coyle, do you know what the balance is just on the land contract without the alleged damages?
I've requested my bank records. I'm waiting for them to come in.
Okay, so the answer
not
is you
sure.
don't know.
I'm not sure, no.
Okay, and then I don't want to go through a long laundry list, but allegedly what was removed from the property?
Well, I had, of course, my clothing, Cub Cadet mower, Yardman snow thrower, Honda generator, my 91 Dodge Dakota that I just put a lot of money in the engine. It was torn down completely and dismantled. I did not sign a title over to him.
Why did you leave all that property there?
Why did I leave it there?
Yes.
Because he rushed me to the airport. I didn't have time to get anything out of there, Your Honor.
All right, well, all right, if you guys can untie that knot, more power to you, but some of that's your own fault, I guess, but nonetheless, they can't do anything till he gets a title from you.
Mhm.
And so you hold some of the important cards. All right. So I will receive the second rent-to-own contract. We'll call it Defendants Exhibit B.
Mr. Coyle, is that a copy of your land contract?
Yes.
You may or may not wish to give it, allow the judge to look at that.
Okay, there's some stuff on here that
All right,
I don't
well, we'll
really
hold off on
recognize.
that. I've received the rent-to-own contract dated
Got a copy.
June 13th, I guess. Then my advice to everybody, you went to council after the wheels fell off. If you'd gone to attorney first, we wouldn't even be here because they could have helped solve some of these problems. So between now and June 13th, Mr. Harder is gonna try to get squared away with Mr. Coyle. And if that can happen and Mr. Coyle can provide a title to Mr. Harder, then Mr. Harder and Mr. Cap are gonna try to get squared away. Mr. Cap isn't gonna be able to get any sort of financing for this property unless the plaintiff can prove that he can provide a title. As I said, we've got two good lawyers on this. The parties seem to be willing to try to all get to the same finish line. But some of those items, Mr. Coyle, may be outside the land contract. You have a
All the
land.
property was to be maintained until I was able
All right,
to get to
well,
it.
I don't have the contract in front of me. But, all right, so do you wish to provide a copy of that to me?
Sure.
Mr. Bush, is that your only copy?
We have.
All right.
Your Honor, as far as personal contact with Mr. Harder, I have witnesses that heard him say the next time he saw that little SOB, he was going to put a bullet between his eyes.
And that's where the last shred of Mr. Coyle's credibility got lost. Seems like he has quite an axe to grind with somebody.
Which
That being
that
you?
doesn't go with me well.
Probably not.
I worked armed security for 16 years, Your Honor, and I don't take threats lightly.
Well, we don't need threats. We need a solution. And so everybody's gonna need to cooperate with each other and somewhat maybe be flexible. Mr. Coyle, do you have a copy of this land contract? You just gave me the only one.
That was my copy.
No,
Well-
no, that was my copy.
Oh, that was
I
your copy?
requested the records from the court and printed a copy copy for you.
All right,
Have a
thank
copy, and I can send
Laura,
you the
would-
one I can-
So Laura, would you come and make a copy of this for me? Okay, hopefully you guys can come to a solution by June 13th. If you can't, we'll address it further. As I advised Mr. Bland and Mr. Bush, I have some reservations whether Mr. Harder even has standing to bring this matter. But that doesn't leave you anywhere, Mr. Coyle. It leaves you with a land contract that hasn't been fulfilled and somebody in your house. So if I take Mr. Harder out of the matter, you would have to pursue a land contract forfeiture or foreclosure against Mr. Harder and then an eviction of the caps. So it's in everybody's best interest to try to settle this case. Otherwise, you're all gonna end up with extensive attorney fees. Nobody's gonna get any money. You're gonna be in litigation for 2 years. So it's in everybody's best interest to try to cooperate with each other to get a deed from Mr. Coyle to Mr. Harder and some sort of a property transfer, Mr. Harder to Mr. and Mrs. Cap.
I don't want to see them get evicted, Your Honor.
All right.
I mean, he's done a lot of work in there and it was a mess when he moved in.
All right, well, that's good to know. So you kind of left it in bad shape?
No,
and
sir.
Oh.
I did not leave it in bad. He moved his ex-wife in
All right, so it got.
and
got
she
di-
destroyed it. Well, she
okay,
was
So
there.
it got wrecked after you left.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
And before my people got it,
all right. No need for threats or discord or call anybody names or threaten to kick somebody's butt. You need to work together for your own interest to get this resolved. So discord is just gonna make this harder and more expensive. So Mr. Bush and Mr. Bland can help try to get a solution here. Who drew up the land contract for you?
Mr. Harder.
All right. All right, you're all good to go. Thank you. While you're all here, you're certainly welcome to sit down and talk to each other. It's out in the conference room.
I would note that the contract between Coyle and Harder is recorded. If the court would know.
I see that.
But Your Honor, I was in the Philippines and I didn't have time to issue any site. I didn't know how to get a hold of him. I had no phone number, no Gmail, nothing to get a hold of him to let him know that I was filing papers because he broke the contract when he moved her in.
All right, well, you didn't do anything about it. That was
I
6
couldn't, I
years
was in the
ago.
Philippines, Your Honor.
Well, you've had 6 years to do something. When did you get back?
I've been going back and forth ever since 2014.
Well, you said you haven't
up
seen
till
your son
20
in 6
up-
years.
Up until 2018, yes,
So you've been back since 2018?
yes.
All right, well, you've had plenty of time to take care of this. Anyway, let's take care of it. Everybody's here. You got 2 lawyers, you got 3 people that want the same answer. See if you can resolve it. All right, you're all good to go.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you. Let me know.
Oh, I didn't mention, there's an escrow order in place. Mr. Cap is supposed to be paying $403 a month into escrow. Gentlemen? Mr. Bush and Mr. Bland, there's an escrow order in place and Mr. Cap is supposed to be paying $403 a month escrow to the court. You were supposed to pay November, December, January, and February, $403 per month. So have you made any payment toward that?
We supposed to pay it today, I thought.
No, you pay, well, you're supposed to pay it to the court.
Yeah, today.
You know, if you can pay it today, great.
Yes.
All right, I'll know, defendant will pay escrow today.
And
Very
we also
good.
took care of the property tax too,
Okay,
for this summer tax.
Summer
Yeah.
and winter.
Yeah,
That was another
yeah,
issue.
we had an extra one that wasn't mentioned, but we took care of it.
I kind of had an issue with the property tax too with Mr. Hurd.
all right, so yeah, add some further confusion in there. It's gonna be a tax foreclosure action. So, all right, you're gonna pay the escrow today and the taxes somewhere in the
No, no.
winter.
No, taxes are already paid.
We did
Okay,
pay the taxes.
all right,
were
taxes
fine.
were paid. Very good.
There was a summer tax that they just came out with and we paid that too.
Well, you guys have certainly got the best claim to this. You've been living in it, you've been making payments. There's a dispute as to how much is paid. I'm gonna hold the payments from now until June. And then when we figure out who's who, I'll
Make 'em here.
disperse the
Yeah.
payments. All right, you're good to go. Go out and pay that escrow out at the counter.
Your Honor, if I might add this one.
One thing. about
During the
it, if
time
you make the
that when I
payments here,
first
this
started
thing
this contract,
blows up.
Mr. Harder wanted me to keep the taxes in my name.
We
Because I
know
homesteaded it
about where
and I was
it's
tax
going,
exempt.
that. You
And I
see what
told
I'm
him
saying?
that that's not
So,
gonna
I mean,
happen.
it's your
All right, well,
benefit
that's
to
another
make
wrinkle in
monthly
this
payments here.
convoluted accordion knot, but let's see if we can untie it. All right, you're good to go. All right, so that is officially known in the legal world as a big giant mess. But hopefully they can undo it.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoy watching this content, please like and subscribe. It helps new channels like this one gain exposure. There is a lot more good court to come, so if you like what you saw, tell your friends. If you didn't, tell me, and let me know what you'd like to see and how I can improve. Thanks.